finding ways to fund Pennsylvania's schools. I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Newsmakers. With me is Pennsylvania State Representative Thomas Murt. Thanks for being with us.
Hi, Jill. Great to be here.
Let's talk a little bit first about the way in which schools are funded. The proportion or the percentage of money coming from the state level varies by school district.
That's correct, Jill. Just to backtrack a little bit, the primary responsibility for public education in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, over the years, because of funding formulas and so forth, things that have happened in Harrisburg, much of the funding for public education has been pushed to the local school districts, and they've had to raise their own funding through property tax increases and so forth.
So with a reliance on property taxes, there is a varying percentage that comes to schools from the state level.
That's correct, and that is a reflection of the funding formula, if you will. And there are some school districts who receive upwards of 60% of their funding from the Commonwealth. There are some school districts, many in our geographical service area, that receive less than 35% of their funding from the Commonwealth. We don't believe this is equitable, we don't believe this is fair, and we don't believe this is the best way to fund public education.
Now, when we talk about these districts, though, some of these districts are in the area that you serve. There is this perception or this idea that because these may be more affluent areas, that they can afford the property taxes to put toward education.
That might be a perception, and that may even be true, but we know for a fact that it's more expensive to run a school district in the metropolitan Philadelphia area than it might be in Elk or Pike or Crawford County. And wages and salaries are higher in this area. It's more expensive to build schools. The technology is more expensive to have sports teams and so forth, extracurricular activities. And we believe that there should be a mechanism to recognize some of those dynamics.
And you are looking for ways to find this funding, and one of the things that you're considering is redirecting money from the Racehorse Development Fund to provide funding for certain districts. How would this work?
That's a good question, and this is legislation that was drafted by my colleague and my friend, Representative Todd Stevens from Horsham, from Montgomery County. And the proposal is to divert $250 million from the Racehorse Development Fund to help some of the districts that are currently underfunded, districts that receive less than 35% of their funding from the state. And these districts would include some of these districts that I represent: Upper Moreland, Lower Moreland, Upper Dublin, Heifer, Horsham, and so forth. And this is an outstanding proposal. The Racehorse Development Fund was originally initiated to help the racehorse industry and to help some veterinary entities and so forth, and it's been very successful. It's been very lucrative, and we believe that we can take some of that funding from the Racehorse Development Fund, give it to public education, to school districts that deserve it and school districts that need it, and not adversely impact that Racehorse Development Fund or industry. Is
there the concern, though, by taking some of this money out of this fund, that there could be an adverse impact on the racehorse industry? Agriculture is still the top industry in Pennsylvania, including the equine industry.
That's a great question, and the answer is we don't believe that it will negatively impact the industry at all. What we believe this is an initiative to think or look outside the box and to find some funding and redirect it into a critically needed area, which public education is.
Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks, Jill. Great to be here.
We've been talking with Pennsylvania State Representative Thomas Murt. I'm Jill Horner for Comcast Newsmakers.